Good evening, members. Now I want to start FEMA Series 5 with reference to foreign currency account by person resident in India. This is my continuous fifth program on FEMA Series, and this will be useful to the members. Today I am going to take up a very interesting topic, that is foreign currency account opened by a resident person in India. That is, before going to that, I want to say about foreign currency. It's an account held or maintained in currency other than the currency of India, Nepal, or Bhutan. So, other than currency of India, Nepal, Bhutan, all other countries' currency are called as foreign currency, and this account can be allowed to be operated jointly with the relative, and this relative is being governed by the definition of section 2 subsection 77 of Companies Act of 2013. An individual can open savings account, current account, or deposit account. Other than the individuals, only the permitted accounts are called, that is, they are allowed to cover or they are allowed to open current account or deposit account. What are the items, what are the accounts that are eligible to be opened by person resident in India in foreign currency account? There are 5 accounts. That is, one is called as export earners foreign currency account, then resident foreign currency account domestic, then resident foreign currency account, then dollar account, then account at SEZ, special economic zone, and other types of accounts. All these are permitted to be opened in India in foreign currency account by person resident in India, resident person. Now we'll see about the each and every accounts credit and debit. What are the eligible credits? What are the eligible debit in EFC account? Because you know that any bank account can be opened by adhering to the KYC norms. Here, export earners foreign currency account. The first most important thing is this account can be opened only with 100% foreign exchange earnings. EFC account means the credit should be only in 100% export foreign exchange earnings through inward remittances or payments received in foreign currency. So the credit in this account should be only in foreign exchange, and that too it has to be received in banking channel. Yes, this account can also be used for the purpose of 100% economic EOE, economic oriented units, or by units was a special economic zone with 100% exports. If they do 100% exports, and if they are doing a part amount in domestic export, then they are not eligible to open EFC account. So 100% exporters are allowed, and counter trade payments and advance towards the exports. Everything you can give credit to the EFC account. Then, in case you are a professional, you are going abroad and you are receiving some credit, then that credit should be received in individual capacity, and that amount can be given credit to EFC account, and that receipt professional earnings include director fees, consultancy fees, lecture fees, and honorarium, and similar other earnings. That is also allowed credit in EFC account. In case if anyone has started the Indian startup company, then if any process has come from abroad, then the payment received in foreign exchange, you can give credit to EFC account. In case if you have taken any money abroad and if it is not utilized from the EFC account, then that account that can be refunded or recredited to the EFC account. That is, unutilized foreign exchange can be given recredit into the EFC account. Then what are the other accounts? Though the credit is there, what are the accounts they are not eligible? That is, in case if you receive any loan in foreign exchange, credit is allowed in EFC account, because this EFC account is purely meant for the 100% EOU, 100% that is the business in SEZ for 100% exports, trade payments, advance payments. So it's a loan. Loan is different. So this amount should not be given credit in EFC account. If anybody wants to invest in India, that amount should not also be given credit in EFC account. In case if anyone spends the amount, send the amount for some specific obligation, so even to meet some medical expenditure, that amount should not be given credit in EFC account. Okay, this is with reference to credit. Now we are going to see the debit. What are the payments allowed? What are the payments allowed in EFC account? That is payment towards capital account or current account transactions permitted under FAMA. We will see on a separate part of the presentation what are all permitted capital account, what are the permitted transaction in credit in the current account. We will discuss on the later part of the presentation, or later tomorrow or day after tomorrow we will discuss. Then 100% EOU, because 100% EOU unit. So they want to buy the raw material, they want to buy some goods. So for that they can make payment from this EFC account. Okay, they have imported and they want to make customs duty and trade related loans. So they have borrowed from local market. So it's a trade related loans in the form of sundry creditors and advances by an exporter to importer customer outside India. In case if they import goods from abroad, so they can make the payment from EFC account to the supplier of goods from outside India. Then payment in foreign exchange to a person resident in India. In case if anyone has, if this exporter, if this EFC, that is a 100% EO unit, they are buying some raw material from India, within India, or they are utilizing the services, for that they can make payment from EFC account. Then withdrawal is also permitted. Yes, you can withdraw the amount, but provided that account should not be given recredit into the account. This is where this EFC accounts debits are, these are the items where the debit in the EFC accounts are permitted. Next one is it's a non-interest bearing account. No interest has to be paid in this account. And ECGC clients and insurance clients, if it is settled in rupee, because if it is settled in FC, it is allowed. If it is settled in rupee, it should not be given in credit. Suppose if it is settled in foreign currency, then it is allowed. If it is settled in rupee, then that amount should not be given in credit in EFC account, because EFC account is 100%. It's a foreign exchange account. It is no rupee account is allowed. Then there is no, that is, you can convert at the month end. This foreign exchange account can be converted into rupee for the approved purpose. If there is any approved purpose, then the fund at the end, not in the middle of the month, at the end of the month, they can convert this foreign exchange amount to the extent of the approved purpose. The money can be converted into rupee. Then no loan, no funded and non-funded advances should be granted against the balance in this account. This is also very, very important, because no loan is allowed against EFC fund. Then in case the exporters have borrowed the loan from bank in the form of packing credit loan, so the packing credit loan should be closed out of the foreign exchange amount only. So this PCL, packing credit loan, should be closed out of, can be closed out of the debit made from the EFC account. And in case, see, the EFC account can be used only by the resident who is doing 100% EOU, who is doing dealing in SEZ, special economic zone, that is 100% export goods. In case this resident has become non-resident or person resident outside India, then EFC account loses its nomenclature. This account can be transferred to NRE account or FCNRB account, foreign currency non-resident bank account. You can transfer in case there is any change in the status. Next account. Say first we have discussed about EFC. Next important account is RFC, that is resident foreign currency account domestic. Now a resident is here, he is going abroad and he has received foreign exchange payment while on visit to any place outside India. So in the foreign country he has received some foreign exchange. Then what are the items that are allowed to be given credit in this account? One is by way of gift or services rendered to any non-resident while visit to India. Here, non-resident has come here, he has rendered some service. While he has gone abroad, he can receive the payment. That is allowed. That amount can be given credit to RFC account. Next one is by way of honorarium or gift to visit any place outside India. He has gone abroad, and by way of honorarium for giving some service or as a speaker, as a faculty member, you might have received some honorarium, and he might have received some gift that can be given credit to the unspent on visit to your country. So he has gone abroad, he has not utilized the fund, he is coming back, so he can give credit to RFC account. Next one is this amount represent disinvestment in ADR, American Deposit Receipt, and GDR, Global Deposit Receipt. He has made investment in ADR and GDR. So disinvestment means he has sold. He has received the money. That amount can be given credit in the RFC account domestic. And in case he has received any settlement of insurance policy claims in foreign currency, then that amount also given credit in resident foreign currency account. Next one is utilized for the payment of capital account current account transaction. As already said, we are going to have a separate section on current account and capital account transactions. Next, the person goes abroad. If he is going abroad, he can withdraw the amount to the extent of $250,000 because he wants to utilize in the country outside India. So to the extent of $250,000 per financial year, without RBI permission, he can utilize. But if they want to utilize more than the amount, then they have to apply to the Reserve Bank of India. Then they can utilize any amount. So a person going abroad, they can utilize the amount to the extent of $250,000 without RBI permissions. The account shall be maintained in the form of current account. This RFC domestic account should be maintained in the form of current account, and there should not be any credit of interest in that account. The sum total of the accrual of the account during the calendar month should be converted into rupees on or before the last day of the succeeding calendar month after adjusting utilization of the balances for approved. For some approved purposes, the balances have been utilized. The balances can be converted into rupee, and then after approved purpose means if any purpose the fund have been reserved, then after utilization, if any balance is left, then that can be converted into rupee account. Then in case that resident has become non-resident, then the balance in RFC domestic account can be converted into or can be given credit to NRE and FC NRB account, just like in EFC account. The same concept is applicable to this account also. Now we have to understand what is ADR and GDR. It's an American Deposit Receipt. Is a certificate issued by US Bank that represents shares in foreign market. And the ADR is American Deposit Receipts are traded in American stock exchanges. ADRs and their dividends are priced in US dollars because this ADR is being mentioned in US dollars. If there is any dividend received, that also included in the ADR area, and that is being mentioned in US dollars. ADRs represent an easy way. So it's anything, any amount. If you are deposit, that should have liquidity. So you can easily liquidate ADR, and it's a negotiable. So if you want to transfer to anyone, you can easily negotiate to anyone. And it is denominated in US dollars, representing securities of a foreign company trading in US market. Then ADRs are easily transferable without stamp duty. So it is negotiable, it is easily transferable, and it can be easily liquidated, and that too without any stamp duty. Now we have to go and read the definition or meaning of global deposit receipt. This is also a negotiable instrument. It is used to tap. It is used to tap financial market in various countries, market of various countries in a single instrument. The GDRs are issued by the depository bank in more than one country, representing fixed number of shares in a foreign company, and GDR account holders can convert them into shares by surrendering the receipts to the bank. If they want to buy the shares, they can surrender the GDR to the bank which has issued then they can buy the shares in their own name. And if to make the investment in India, then prior approval of Ministry of Finance and Foreign Investment Promotion Board or prior permission is required. You want to invest in GDR, but for ADR, no prior approval is required. Resident foreign currency account. Now, previously we have seen resident foreign currency account in domestic. So this person goes abroad. Now, a person resident outside India, he comes to India and he wants to settle India. So that is person of Indian origin and non-resident. If he wants to come to India, he can open foreign currency account with the permission of the authorized dealers, and he has to give the explanation for what purpose he is opening the account. Yeah, so a person resident India, because this person wants to come and settle India, so he is called as person resident India. He can open the foreign currency account for the foreign purpose, that is to receive the pension or superannuation benefits from his overseas employer, or by converting assets situated outside India when he is acquired. So when he was the person resident outside India, he would have purchased some assets. He wants to convert them, then he can bring the money to India, or sometimes this property would have been inherited by him. So that money he can bring into India. Then, in case the LC client's maturity surrender value, LIC, if the maturity value comes, then if it is in foreign currency account, then that person who has come to India, that is for the foreign settlement, they can give credit to this RFC account provided that amount comes in foreign currency. Then balances in RFC account can be free from all restrictions in foreign currency balances outside India. So RFC can be held in joint names also with the relative, but this RFC account because it's a permanent resident, it can be held in joint name, but this relative has got no power to operate the account, because the money when belonged to this person was come and settle India. That is, previously he was person resident outside India. He wants to come and settle India. He can open a joint account with a relative, but the relative has got no power to operate the account till the lifetime of the resident holder. In case balances in NRE account, FCNR account to RFC account, and residential status from NR to resident. So this amount, again, they say that if he has become a resident, then this RFC account can be transferred, credited to RFC account. That is, balances in NRE account, FCNR, because previously he has opened as NR, now he has become resident. So this balance in FCNRB and NRE account can be transferred to RFC account. Very, very simple. So NR, when person resident in outside India, he can open NRE account, FCNRB account. Now this person resident outside India has become resident. So the balance in NRE account, FCNRB account can be transferred to RFC account. So RFC account can be opened only in the form of SP account, current account, and deposits as per the schemes offered by the authorized dealers, and interest rate has to be decided by the authorized dealers on his own. These are the, we have seen EFC account, RFC domestic, and RFC account. Now we are going to see the diamond dollar account. We can see the name itself is very, very easy. You can easily understand. Diamond dealers are permitted to open this type of account. Diamond dealers who are all exporters, they are permitted to open diamond dollar account. And there is a word dollar. That means this account should be operated only in dollar, any currency. So this is called as diamond dollar account. So a diamond dollar account can be opened by the person who are doing diamond exports. Only firms and companies are permitted to open diamond dollar account, and the business is only towards the diamond business. Studded, that is diamond studded in jewelry also, they can do the business. For that business purpose only, this diamond dollar account is being opened, and the person who has to open this diamond dollar account should have got 2 years good track in import and export business. These are the things that authorized dealers they have to take care of. And the average annual turnover should be 3 crores and above, preceding 3 licensing years. Then only this person is eligible to open the account. So they should have 3 crores turnover and above, plus they should have good track record of 2 years. They are eligible to open diamond dollar account, and this diamond dollar account can be opened only by the exporters and only by the diamond exporters, and that too this account can be opened only in dollars and not in any other currency. So five accounts of diamond dollar account DDA can be opened, and this has to be treated as current account. So no interest has to be made, and inter transfer between one diamond dollar account to another diamond dollar account is not permitted. No inter transfer, no intra transfer, anything you should not do. Each and every diamond dollar account should have got separate status. Everything has to be maintained separately. Exporter firms, suppose if exporter firms and companies who are maintaining foreign currency account, and if they are not doing diamond account, diamond export business, then they are not eligible to open diamond dollar account. So debits are allowed. So now what are the credits? When you sell it, process comes. What is the debit comes? Debit means if you are buying the diamond outside India, so that means you are importing diamonds and jewelry, then the payment can be made from this diamond dollar. In case the bank, if the persons have availed any loan from bankers for the purpose of business, then a debit is allowed from this loan account, from this diamond dollar account. It's because just like a current account, so diamond dollar account to the other loan account in rupee by way of converting them into rupee. And now we will see another account called those accounts who have been opened specifically at a special economic zone. So foreign currency account can be allowed to be opened in SEZ unit, special economic zone unit, with the permission of authorized dealers. Authorized dealers they are nothing but bankers. Then foreign currency, say in case here towards the special economic zone, that is for the export of goods, any amount that has been received, then no RBA permission is required. In case if any purpose other than the business to be carried out at SEZ and that has been received, then if to give credit in SEZ account, RBA permission is required. Then they have to carry out the transaction only with persons, that is used only for SEZ transaction with persons resident in India. So with the resident in India, they can do the transaction, and they are, whenever they want to export, the process should come directly to this SEZ account. Other without RBA permission, you can get credit, and this account should not be lent because the customer has got a very good fund in SEZ account, and this amount should not be lent to anyone because this will spoil the economic positions, stability. So this should not be lent, and this should not be used by any other person other than the SEZ persons. One SEZ to another SEZ person, you can do the transaction, and not with other persons. So this is the utilization with reference to special economic zone account. And what are the other items that for the resident can open in foreign currency is RBA permits the following persons, that is resident persons, can open the account, that is by a company for its office or branches for normal business transactions. Yes, with RBA permission, it permits you can open the account. Then for making overseas direct investment, if you want to make direct investment in foreign currency, foreign country, then you have to transfer the amount in foreign currency. For that RBA permission, but by getting RBA permission, you can make the direct investment. Then for startup companies outside India, then also you require foreign currency money. So your RBA permission is required to start up the companies at foreign country. If you want to make any fund to be invested in ADR, GDR, and ECB funds, then that is also allowed. But for this, you have to, for anything to be made in GDP, you have to get permission. Then, if you want to go abroad, you can directly go and approach the authorized dealers. For that, no permission is required. But if they want to open a foreign currency account at foreign country, RBI permission is required. Then you are with a resident, you are a resident and you want to go and utilize this amount of foreign currency in, within the limit of LRS, then if only from non-resident they can transfer. That is, person resident outside India or a non-resident can transfer the fund. If you are a resident and you want to use the foreign currency within the limit of LRS, then RBI permission is required. Liberalized remittance scheme, a person can use up to 2,50,000 US dollars. A shipping company, if it is incorporated in India, they are permitted to open foreign currency account in India with permission. Then, if you are going to participate or conduct an exhibition outside India, so you want to open a foreign currency account, for that also you have to get the RBI permission so that foreign currency account can be opened outside India after getting RBI permission. If you are going temporarily for some tour purpose or for medical purpose, RBI permission is not required. But if you want to open a separate account, RBI permission is required. What are the other important provisions with reference to foreign currency account? An individual can open a deposit account of SB, current account and deposit, but others they can permitted to open only current account and deposit account, and account can be opened by individual or other persons, but they can operate the account either individually or jointly. That is also permitted. In case of death of a person who is a foreign currency holder, so nominee will be there. There are two types of nominee. One is a person resident outside India can be as nominee. A resident can also be appointed as a nominee. Let's take a person resident outside India is a nominee. Then the funds can be transferred from the to the extent of person resident outside India without RBI permission. They can transfer here from India to the nominee of person resident outside India. You can transfer one. But if he's a resident and he's a resident, he also wants to transfer the fund to settle the liabilities outside India, then authorized dealers, they have to get the RBI permission. This is a basic difference between 1 and 2. Then account held outside India, then one account is held outside India, then that account holder died, then this resident, he wants to close that account. Yes, it is permitted. So that should come only through the banking channel. When any fund comes through the banking channel, then it is the responsibility of the authorized dealers to take care of everything. So this is a thing I want to say about the person resident in India to open or operate or maintain the foreign currency account in India. And with this, I'm just signing up, and we will meet in another session. Thank you very much for the patient hearing. Nandri, Vanakkam.
23,000. Reddy,